In a trafficking ring, busted operating in communities from Centralia to Samish.
Agents seize fentanyl pills by the tens of thousands and guns by the dozens.
In all, 10 people were arrested. Here's a look at just some of the firearms that were found. Many of them are high-powered assault-style guns.
The DEA has just executed one of the most coordinated and powerful crackdowns Washington state has ever witnessed. In a 36-hour wave of pre-dawn raids stretching from Lewis County all the way to Snohomish County, the Drug Enforcement Administration, working side by side with the Seattle Police Department, dismantled a transnational drug and gun trafficking network that investigators say had been flooding Puget Sound communities with narcotics and weapons for years. 10 suspects are now in federal custody, following simultaneous strikes that targeted homes, warehouses, and stash houses across 12 separate locations. This operation, a key part of the nationwide initiative known as Operation Takeback America, marks a major victory in the government's war against organized crime and cartel-linked arms trafficking. Officials didn't call it a simple drug bust. They described it as the takedown of a full-scale armed supply chain, one that paired narcotics with high-powered firearms and funneled both into the heart of Washington's urban centers. More than 100 agents and officers from federal, state, and local task forces took part, moving with military precision as the mission unfolded across the region. At sunrise, tactical teams breached reinforced doors in Centralia, Tacoma, and Samish, while FBI surveillance aircraft circled above, transmitting live footage back to a joint command center in downtown Seattle. Within minutes, streets were sealed, suspects detained, and evidence streaming into federal custody. Inside those properties, agents uncovered what one official described as the infrastructure of a criminal enterprise. Industrial pill presses, vacuum sealers, heat-wrapped packages of fentanyl, and racks of loaded rifles, all standing by for distribution or defense. As the investigation deepened, DEA analysts traced the drug flow from Sonora, Mexico, moving through Arizona and up Interstate 5, where local gang affiliates took over distribution. This group didn't just sell drugs, it controlled an entire narcotics pipeline, from the border to the Pacific Northwest, protected by stolen guns and fear. The numbers alone tell a staggering story. Agents seized approximately 100,000 fentanyl pills, 34 kilograms of fentanyl powder, 7 kilograms of cocaine, 7 kilograms of methamphetamine, and nearly a full kilogram of heroin, quantities capable of killing tens of thousands. Alongside the narcotics, agents confiscated 34 firearms, including AR-15-style rifles, sawed-off shotguns, and stolen handguns, later confirmed to have been used in violent crimes. Over $40,000 in cash was pulled from safes, vehicles, and hidden floor compartments. One senior DEA official described it as record-level quantities for a single Western Washington operation. Laboratory tests confirmed the fentanyl powder was cartel-grade, identical in purity and chemical structure to batches recently seized in cross-border interdictions. For federal agents, this proved the direct logistical connection between Mexico's manufacturing hubs and Seattle's street-level dealers. But to law enforcement, this case was about more than numbers. It exposed how deeply intertwined gun trafficking and fentanyl distribution have become. Agents now believe firearms were being traded for bulk shipments of narcotics, effectively turning local gangs into business partners for international suppliers. The result was what one federal prosecutor called a perfect storm of drugs and violence. Every gun taken off the street was a potential homicide prevented. Every kilo seized represented countless lives saved from overdose. This wasn't just about stopping drugs, said one veteran DEA agent. It was about dismantling the entire ecosystem that made those drugs possible. As dusk settled over Washington, armored vehicles returned to base, evidence lockers filled to capacity, and one task force commander summed up the day's events in a single line. We took their guns, their drugs, and their power. For communities across Western Washington, this was more than a federal operation. It was a message. A message that the era of cartel-backed gangs flooding local streets with poison and firepower is coming to an end. At the center of this massive investigation stood a property on the outskirts of Centralia, an unmarked warehouse that agents later described as the distribution fortress of the network. What looked like a rundown auto garage was actually the operational heart of a multi-million-dollar drug empire. Inside, investigators found 25 kilograms of fentanyl powder, over 90,000 pills, and 24 firearms, including AR platform rifles fitted with suppressors and extended magazines. The walls were stuffed with insulation packed with cash and narcotics, and a reinforced steel door led to a hidden backroom designed for high-speed packaging. Agents said the setup was optimized for non-stop movement. Couriers loading cars before dawn, wiping down surfaces, and heading north under cover of darkness. That property was tied directly to Jose Isabel Sandoval Zuniga, arrested just hours later in his vehicle, where agents discovered 16 kilograms of fentanyl. A search of his Samish home revealed even more: heroin, additional fentanyl powder, and a .45 caliber semi-automatic pistol beside his bed. Investigators believe Zuniga acted as the logistics coordinator, bridging Arizona suppliers with local distribution cells scattered through King and Pierce counties. By the end of the operation, 10 defendants were in custody, all charged under federal drug and firearms trafficking statutes, carrying mandatory minimum sentences of 10 years due to the massive narcotics volume. Federal prosecutors in Seattle's U.S. District Court filed charges including conspiracy to distribute controlled substances, possession with intent to distribute fentanyl and methamphetamine, illegal possession and trafficking of firearms. Several of those arrested were repeat offenders, previously convicted of armed robbery, narcotics trafficking, and gun-related crimes. The U.S. Attorney's Office confirmed that indictments were unsealed within hours of the final arrest. "This wasn't random street crime," said one federal prosecutor. "This was a structured criminal organization built to move poison across counties, and we just took it apart piece by piece." Officials expect more arrests in the coming weeks as forensic teams analyze encrypted messages, financial ledgers, and seized communication devices. The deeper investigators dig, the clearer the cartel connection becomes. DEA and Homeland Security analysts have confirmed the network operated as a hybrid chain, merging local gang affiliates with international suppliers. And the firearms discovered at multiple sites? They weren't for show. They were the muscle behind the money, the tools that kept the drug pipeline alive. Several of the firearms recovered during the raids were traced to prior violent crimes, including carjackings and shootings in Tacoma and Everett. Agents believe the gang used the gun trade as both currency and control, exchanging weapons for bulk narcotics shipments while maintaining discipline through fear and intimidation. One of the recovered rifles matched shell casings from an unsolved double shooting in Kent, linking the drug operation directly to street-level bloodshed. Every firearm wasn't just a weapon, it was part of the business model. An HSI agent explained it best. They weren't just dealing fentanyl, they were financing it with firepower. Federal intelligence reports later revealed that the network's supply routes stretched south into Sonora, Mexico, using intermediaries in Phoenix to receive bulk narcotics shipments. From there, the product was rerouted north to Washington via truck convoys and air couriers, blending cartel logistics with local distribution. The tactical execution of this operation demanded a level of precision coordination rarely seen outside of counterterrorism missions. Over a 36-hour window, SWAT teams from the Seattle Police Department, King County TAC 30, Washington State Patrol, BORAC, and North Sound Metro SWAT launched synchronized entries across multiple counties. In Centralia, armored Bearcat vehicles smashed through the warehouse gates while flashbang grenades illuminated the rural compound. In Samish, tactical agents utilized silent entry breaching tools, infiltrating a residential property without alerting neighbors. Officers described the suspects as heavily armed but disoriented, completely overwhelmed by the speed and precision of the assault. By nightfall, every primary target was in custody, and not a single agent, suspect, or civilian was injured. Federal officials praised the flawless coordination among agencies, crediting their unified command structure for preventing casualties. One SWAT operator summed it up bluntly: "We hit them faster than they could reach for a weapon." That's the difference between arresting traffickers and attending funerals. When the dust finally settled, law enforcement had done more than seize drugs and guns. They had dismantled the machinery that moved them. A rare, clean strike that investigators say will echo through the Pacific Northwest's criminal underworld for years. Inside the federal command post in downtown Seattle, walls of live video feeds flickered through the night, images streaming in from raids across western Washington as agents logged evidence and processed detainees. The operation was the culmination of months of joint coordination under the Organized Crime Drug Enforcement Task Force's OCDTF framework, a national program uniting the DEA, Seattle Police Department, IRS Criminal Investigation, Homeland Security Investigations, Customs and Border Protection. and the U.S. Attorney's Office into one cohesive mission. Officials said the teamwork between federal intelligence analysts and SPD narcotics detectives represented textbook precision. Each agency handled a vital layer of the operation. The DEA tracked international supply routes. Seattle Police mapped local street distribution networks. The IRS followed the flow of illicit cash. CBP traced smuggling nodes back to their origins in Mexico. The result? A complete takedown of a multi-tiered criminal network that had operated underground for years. Agents said the case proved one defining truth. No city is too small, and no cartel connection too distant to face federal reach. By dawn, the press briefing room in Seattle was standing room only. U.S. Attorney Charles Neal Floyd addressed the media in measured tones, calling the investigation a direct strike against the armed criminal element poisoning our communities. Behind him stood DEA Special Agent in Charge David Reams, flanked by SPD and King County Sheriff's Office officials. Reams told reporters that pairing guns with fentanyl was a recipe for mass casualties that this task force could no longer ignore. He praised the bravery of every agent involved, saying they risked their lives to intercept lethal narcotics before they reached children and families. Seattle Police Chief Sean Barnes added that SPD officers are now embedded full-time within federal task forces, creating a new model for urban crime suppression, one that merges federal resources with local street intelligence. The message is simple, Barnes said. If you're selling fentanyl in Seattle, if you're running guns through Tacoma or Snohomish, there is no corner we won't reach. Behind the podium, the agents nodded silently, because for them, the mission was far from over. Outside the federal courthouse, families, residents, and community leaders gathered to thank the officers for their work. In neighborhoods once marked by overdoses and violence, cleanup crews boarded shattered windows and towed vehicles used in the operation. There was a sense of relief and a cautious return of peace. Meanwhile, federal analysts continued sifting through evidence, dozens of phones, ledgers, and encrypted messaging apps seized during the raids. Each text message and wire transfer could point to another hidden cell within the organization. Already, new warrants are being drafted to target secondary distributors and financial couriers connected to the Arizona supply chain. According to DEA briefings, those follow-up operations will soon expand beyond Washington, stretching into Oregon, Idaho, and Nevada, as agents work to tighten the net around the remaining cartel contacts still operating within the network. This was phase 1, said a senior agent. Next comes the financial strike. We freeze the money and we starve the supply. The success of this operation also marks a turning point in how the Pacific Northwest confronts organized crime. Federal task force leaders say the days of isolated city-level crackdowns are over. Now, every county is connected under a single regional enforcement grid. From mountain passes to coastal ports, from Seattle's back alleys to the I-5 corridor, the message is unified and uncompromising. Traffickers will find no safe harbor. As night once again fell over Seattle, convoys of marked and unmarked vehicles rolled back into their bases, officers exhausted but unwavering. Inside the command center, maps of Western Washington still glowed on the digital screens. Each pin representing a raid completed, each red dot a target eliminated. Before shutting off the lights, one agent uncapped a marker and wrote 2 words on the whiteboard. Still hunting. Because for the men and women of the DEA and the Seattle Police Department, Operation Takeback America was not an ending. It was the beginning of a larger mission, to dismantle every cartel-connected network operating in the Pacific Northwest. Until there's nothing left to rebuild.